The motion light exploded to life at exactly 4:37 a.m., piercing the night like a blade. That cold, sterile white beam swept across the yard and pinned them in place. Two silhouettes caught mid-crime, like actors in a scene they no longer controlled. One gripped a crowbar, the other a collapsible dolly, as if they were removing a dead appliance and not a lifeline. James stepped out of the shadows. He didn't shout. He didn't raise his hands. He simply appeared, like judgment in human form. His boots hit the wood of the porch in deliberate, heavy steps. His body was still, but charged. His presence alone sucked the heat from the air. The screen door whispered shut behind him, and the night held its breath. "Put it down," he said. The taller man jolted like he'd been shot. The crowbar clattered against the concrete, echoing off the walls of the sleeping street. The shorter one stiffened. You shouldn't be out here," he stammered. James didn't blink. "You're trespassing," he said, voice calm and coiled like a spring. "You're going to prison." The red light on his phone blinked alive. "Already streaming," James said flatly. 30,000 people watching. "Say hi." Panic flickered in the shorter man's eyes. "You don't understand. We were sent," he mumbled, taking a half-step back. "Then you better pray they send a lawyer with you." James shot back, stepping forward. "Because you came after my father. You came after a man who can't even speak for himself anymore. And you thought no one would speak for him." He pointed at the ramp. "You see that? That's not just wood and bolts. That's freedom. That's 28 degrees of calculated slope built by the hands of a man who served this country when your biggest battle was choosing which tie to wear while scamming old folks." The taller man reached for his belt. James froze. His hand didn't tremble. His voice didn't lift. "Don't." "Silence. It's just my phone," the man whispered, holding it up with shaking fingers. James didn't lower his tone. "You brought tools to dismantle a federally protected accessibility structure. That's a felony. You came at night. That's another. You impersonated enforcement. That makes 3. One more, and you're a headline." Behind him, I stepped onto the porch. "You tried to tear away the only part of the world my father still owns," I said, my voice breaking. "And you did it with a clipboard and a smirk. Like it was nothing." They turned, startled by my presence. But what they saw wasn't fear. Not anymore. It was fury sharpened by love. Sirens bloomed in the distance. The taller man crumpled to the curb. The shorter one raised his hands. James lowered the phone, but kept it recording. "Sit your asses down," he said, "and pray they bring handcuffs and not stretchers." The two men obeyed. Because in that moment, under the spotlight of a porch light, watched by a veteran with the internet in his hand and justice in his veins, they realized something they'd never considered. They thought they'd picked a soft target, but they'd walked into a fortress, and the ramp they tried to destroy? It became the hill they were about to fall on. The sirens grew louder. Two cruisers slid onto the street like sharks into shallow water, quiet but deadly. No lights, no dramatics, just the low hum of reinforced engines and the unspoken command that this was about to be over. James didn't move. He stood at the edge of the porch, hands down, phone up, as the first officer stepped out. Late 40s, bulletproof vest, calm eyes. "Deputy Calloway," the man said, scanning the scene. He didn't need a tour. Everything was visible. The crowbar on the ground, the dolly tipped sideways, the condemned sticker still fluttering on the ramp. And the two men, sitting where James told them to, frozen like children caught breaking into their principal's car. James nodded toward them. They came back, tried to dismantle my father's ramp. Caught them on live stream. Calloway raised his mic, confirmed suspects on site. "We've got them." The second officer, a younger woman, Latina, sharp-jawed and efficient, moved to the porch. Her camera was already rolling. She snapped photos of the tools, the attempted damage, and the men themselves. The shorter suspect twitched, like he might bolt. James saw it before anyone. "Try it," he said without raising his voice. "Run. Just know I'll be right behind you. And so will 10,000 people watching this stream live." The man stayed frozen. Calloway stepped in now, his tone shifting. "Names." Neither of them answered. "Right," he muttered. "You can tell the DA." The younger deputy stepped forward, voice cool. "We found documentation in the vehicle. Fake citations, matching the format of the previous attempt." Calloway gave James a nod. "We'll need that footage." James handed him the phone. "It's all time-stamped. Full angle. Audio. They showed up claiming HOA authority in a non-HOA district, told us our car and ramp were violations, then came back to finish the job before sunrise. The deputy flipped through the footage like a detective thumbing through evidence in court. He nodded once, slowly, then looked at the suspects. You boys picked the wrong family. Then it happened. The taller one, the supposed leader, tried to run. He didn't scream. He didn't warn. He just moved, like instinct took over, like he'd rather take his chances with open ground than due process. But he didn't make it past the lawn. His foot caught the edge of the garden gnome, a squat, smug little concrete figure Mom had bought from a flea market for $3, and he went down hard. Face first. No drama. Just a flat, pathetic oof followed by dead silence. The crowd across the street laughed. Someone even clapped. The younger deputy walked over without urgency, rolled him over, and cuffed him like she was sealing a package. Attempted flight. Detained, she said into her radio. Back at the porch, my father was watching. He hadn't spoken, hadn't moved. But when the taller man was lifted to his feet, Dad straightened, just a little. His shoulders squared. His chin tilted upward like something in him had been returned. Dignity. Calloway looked at James. You pressing charges? James didn't need to look at me. He didn't ask Dad. He just said, absolutely. And I want every second of this scene. Calloway smiled. Well, son, it already has. Dispatch says your live stream has over 400,000 views. Station's been flooded with reporters since 4 a.m. The shorter man muttered, we didn't hurt anyone. James turned to him, eyes narrow. You hurt what he had left. That ramp? That's not a project. It's a legacy. The man opened his mouth. James raised a hand. Don't. He turned to Calloway. You'll find they're part of a pattern. We found posts, videos, reports, people across the country getting hit by fake enforcement claiming bogus HOA codes. Always the same setup. Beige uniforms, fake badges, a white Durango. Always targeting elderly, disabled, vulnerable. Calloway nodded grimly. We've heard whispers. Nothing with teeth, until now. Then came the moment that cracked everything wide open. The shorter man said softly, we were told to do it. James stiffened. Told by who? Silence. But the implication hung in the air like smoke. The deputy looked at both men. You better start talking before this becomes federal. They didn't answer. Didn't have to. Because the truth was already out. James's phone, now in Calloway's hands, was still streaming. And across thousands of phones, tablets, and televisions, America was watching. Watching justice, not as a courtroom verdict, but as a man standing still in the dark, protecting his father with nothing but conviction, camera, and the refusal to back down. The ramp had become more than wood. It had become a battlefield. And tonight, it didn't fall. It stood.